All right, step one is we want to get Inventor running. So we're going to go to Start and we're going to type in Inventor. And as you start typing up, you'll notice it already comes up. So we're going to pick the Professional 2016 English. Why do you want to do this? Well, because you want to make sure you open the files in the correct software. If that software is open, it'll open in it. Sometimes it likes the default and it'll try to open up in like AutoCAD or Revit or something else different. So we always open the software that we know we want to work in. And then we would just start off with a new part just to kind of get you used to drawing. Standard part, create. All I want you to do is just play with it a little bit. So it's going to pull open here. It takes a moment or two sometimes. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes you have that patience. I don't always have. Let's do D-sketch. Fix Z plane. Turn it that way so we got to go in the correct orientation. And then just play with drawing. I don't really worry about anything. I just want you to kind of get used to drawing. I mean, just play with it. Just play, draw a couple things. Just make a couple of minutes. Getting used to drawing different things. Doesn't really matter to me what it is. You can hit the Enter key and Escape key. Just play with it, just so you kind of have an idea of what's going on. That's all I want you to do is just to play and to get comfortable with the software. Just want you to kind of feel comfortable enough with it. Once you know you've kind of understand the basic draw tools, we're going to go ahead and start the actual file. You can get this off the website. So you can get it from the link within the PowerPoint, or you can also just come down here and click on the folder here. And we're going to click on the download. I'm going to tell it to open. And it's going to say, where are you at? Tell it to skip. And it should be there. There we are. Excellent. Start a 2D sketch on that same XZ plane. And step one, we're going to draw a rectangle around the outside here. And second rectangle, and I'm not really worried about how I'm placing them right now. Okay, after I've drawn my two rectangles, I want to lock the first rectangle so it doesn't get changed. So I'm going to go to my constraints here, click the lock, and literally pick on the line, and line, and you'll see the little lock tool pops up. I do that because when I dimension here in a minute, I don't want the dimensions to change it. And now I can go in and set my dimensions to what I want it to be. And you can change the dimensions as you go, or you can just put them in and you can always go back and double click on them and change it to whatever it needs to be from there. Alright, so now I have the dimensions in. I've got it constrained, I got it dimensioned. And now we want to extrude it. And what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to extrude both rectangles, but we're going to do this first extrusion down. So 3D model, extrusion, this and this, make sure you get both of them. Make sure you switch the direction because we want it coming down below the graphic. We're going to change it to 0.25. Essentially, we're really making like a keychain. That's what we're doing. All right, before we do anything else, I'm going to pick extrusion, and I'm going to change my material. Make sure it's an inventor material. A lot of times it'll default to Autodesk material, so we want to change it to inventor material, and we're going to want to change it to white. It doesn't look like it did much, but it actually did change the material. And now we want to fillet our corners. So we're going to do a 3D fillet with a radius of 0.25. Crud. And then it's just a matter of picking each one of the edges and hitting apply and exiting out of it. Okay, so now we have all that. Now it's our next step. Just following the PowerPoint and going along is we're going to create another sketch. And we're going to do what we need to do to draw and outline this. So I'm going to create a sketch on the surface again. I'm going to turn it the correct way so it looks right. I'm going to right click because I can tell that this top is not right until it's at that curved view as top. So now I'll stop doing that on me. Okay, good. I need to actually draw lines here on the outside of this. And just use my scroll wheel to zoom in and zoom out. Holding the center scroll wheel down and moving it so that I can pan. And I'm just drawing the outside shape of the box that we use, the official logo. And I'm going to repeat that for any places in here that I know that I can have a straight line. I'm gonna go ahead and draw those. You hit the enter key and it'll finish out that command. Very similar to AutoCAD if you've ever used AutoCAD. And obviously you'll be able to take a little more time with the kneader, but I'm trying to do this in a timely manner so that it doesn't lock up on my limited amount of time for recording the instructions. So I'm just going through, and okay, see, now that's going to drive me crazy. That's not going to work. Because that should be there to there. So, can I go trim now? Okay, that's better. Oof, and that still bugs me. There we go, that's better. Okay, and then you're going to come through and you're going to use your arc tool. You want to use the arc tool.
Yeah.
I'm doing a recording.
Oh.
I'm going to use the arc tool to come in and finish off some of these corners. And you can either use the arc tool or you can use the spline tool. Both work. Spline just takes points from multiple points as you're going down the line. So sometimes the spline tool is more accurate, and sometimes you have to get rid of this silly thing. There it goes. So it doesn't really matter which version you use, just pick whichever one you prefer. Go ahead and say escape. And I actually prefer with the way that the arc looks in that one, so I'm going to delete and then redraw, but you'll see the point. So what you want to do there it goes, finally. I'm going to use the arc tool for that. What you have to do is you have to decide and go through and just draw whatever is going to look best so that you get each one of these different angles. Some of these angles, like this one, you may have to, ooh, goodness. I gotta play with it. If it doesn't work, just undo, try again. You may have a couple areas where it needs to come up, and that's perfectly fine. Just go through and do whatever it takes for you to finish outlining the object. I'm gonna go finish outlining it, and then I'm gonna show you the next. All right, so all I really have left is that last little line there. There we go. All right, now we want to be able to extrude this. So what we're trying to do is we're actually going to try to extrude it, and I want you to see what happens if I select this right now. See, it picks the whole box. The reason why it does this because we had to draw all these as separate little lines and arcs, etc. And we have what's called open loops, and it's kind of hard to see that we have open loops, but we have open loops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything with my mouse, and then I'm going to right click and go to Sketch Doctor. Tell it to diagnose the sketch, tell it OK, tell it next, and finish, and tell it yes, and it should now, keyword should. Let's grab the whole thing again, so.
Hey, look what we got.
Sometimes you have to do that repeatedly, so let's put a window around it again, right click. Sketch Doctor, tell it diagnose, tell it OK, tell it next, next, finish. Sketch, would you like to close the gap? Yes. The loop has been safely closed. OK. And now, see how it notice it grabs the part that we need. And in this particular case, we're going to do a cut extrusion. So it's going to go cut and down, and we only want to go down 1/10. Now it doesn't look like much, but if you zoom in now, you see that it's gone down.
can't get it.
You know what? You do it. Rachel's trying to.
All right, I'm going to sketch again on the surface. Get it going in the correct direction because it bugs me. Line. I'm just going to outline it again. And
One card.
Thank you.
$20 deposit, please.
Down, cut, and this one will be 0.05. Oops. Pay attention, make sure you don't get too many of those. And all I did was give like a little, try to spin it around so you can see. It's like a little ledge that's been cut into it, which you can kind of see. So the SH is a little thicker than the original square. Now what I want to do is I want to get rid of this graphic that I used to put this in here. So I'm going to double left click on the sketch one so it activates that view. Then I'll select that object and I'm going to delete it and just hit the finish sketch. Because I want this. See how it looks like I want. And then I want this surface here to be orange. So I'm going to grab it and change it to orange. Because that's the school colors are orange. So then we have our orange and our white. View. Now we want to do one more sketch here because we need to put our hole in the corner. So hole, and I'm just going to randomly put it, and I know it has to be 0.25, so I'm going to go ahead and set that. And now I'm going to dimension it from the center to dimension, from that center point to the edge. Come on. 0.25. And I have my hole. I just did that so that I know exactly what the size is, etc. Now we're going to do a 3D model, and I'm going to use the hole function. I could use the cut function if I wanted to, but in this case, here we go. So let's say it needs to be 0.25. I can make it 0.3. I can make it whatever it needs to be. I can make it where it only goes down partially. I can make it where it's got thread. I can make where it's got a recessed center. I can make all those different items that we wanted to if we were doing a hole. We're just going to do generic hole, and we're going to make sure that it says through all. Because if you don't tell it through all, it'll do different things. So that's all it takes to put a hole in. Come on. I want a regular one. There it goes. And make sure it's on through all. Or you could even do a distance. If you knew, say, you only wanted to go halfway through, you could do the distance there. And if I look at it and go, that does not look right. So I can double click on that hole and go, oh, look, I accidentally changed it somehow, right? And there we go. So what we want to do now is we want to save this, and we're going to save it to our desktop because it's going to we're going to have to do that for this to work. And so just going to call it easier, and I would call it my initials, so RMB. And our next step is how do we get this that we've modeled into paper space or into the paper layout so we can print it.